What it do? What it do? It's your guy Libs back with another video. In this video, I'm gonna talk about how minorities can survive or combat gentrification. Gentrification is basically the changing of poor neighborhoods or working class neighborhoods. They change the neighborhoods by having wealthier and often more educated people move into these neighborhoods. What happens when these people move into the neighborhoods is the property value gets increased, the rent gets increased, and longtime residents could no longer afford to live in that neighborhood anymore. And also, gentrification affects the culture because basically, after the long term residents can't afford to live there anymore, they become displaced. And when they become displaced, they're forced to leave and live somewhere else. Now, after this happening over and over and over and over again, what happens is you start to see the culture of that neighborhood slowly changing into a different culture. The new culture is the culture of the wealthier residents that moved in. And what happens to those people that could no longer afford to live in those neighborhoods? Well, they become displaced, meaning we don't know what happens to them. They don't have anywhere to go. Well, in this video, I'm going to give some options to help people fight against gentrification and what I researched, which I think is the best and pretty much only thing you can do. On the ground level, you can start attending town meetings and rallying for the reconstruction of your city. A lot of these towns and cities are doing reconstructions without hearing from the people that live there. They have a whole plan to change everything, and they understand exactly what it's doing. They understand that these poor people that live in these neighborhoods are going to have to get up out of there. And where do they go? They don't care. So it's important to go to these meetings and to have a say so and rally at these meetings and let people understand what's happening when you just come in and change an environment. Let them understand that how it's affecting people. You guys have a voice, speak up and fight verbally. Let the people know that it's important that you don't have the long-term residents displaced. That's a start from ground level. The only thing of value to the minorities is if you own your property. So another way to fight that or combat that is to own property. Like if you've been paying rent and living in the ghetto for a really long time, then try to buy up some of those properties in the ghetto. A lot of those abandoned houses, they could be fixed up. They're being fixed up right now. The proof is in the pudding. I mean, there's been years and years and years of minorities asking that they do something with these buildings, asking that they do something with these streets that are just like vacant, that are just like bringing the property value down. And for years, nobody ever did nothing, never fixed it, never listened when they cried out for help. But now they're doing it on their own. They're fixing these old vacant properties up on their own. They're fixing these roads, these old roads up on their own. And they're doing it with the purpose to move new people in. Hold on a second. Pardon me, that was my wife calling. Yeah, I was saying that you know, increased property value will definitely help minorities living in these poor or working class neighborhoods, because like if your home, let's just say your home is worth 150,000 in the ghetto, and through gentrification, your property value is now worth 250,000. You just, that's equity. That's equity in your home. And is equity in property is how the best way to sustain in this country is by owning things. Like if you don't own nothing, then you basically have nothing. Like, so try to get into home ownership, even if it's for low income houses, like houses in the ghetto. As long as you're a homeowner, gentrification could work towards your benefit. I'm not saying to be rooting for it or anything like that, because it's wiping your culture out. Everything that you grew up knowing, everything that you grew up seeing, the parks that you went to, what I mean, the restaurants. Like, if support local businesses, help them local businesses stand strong, so that they don't get wiped out through gentrification. You know, build more local businesses. We don't support each other enough, and we go to other places and spend our money. We got to spend our money within your community. That's how you combat and fight gentrification and take care of your properties. And even if you renting, don't just let a property go down because you don't own it. You know what I mean? Keep the property value nice. And these people that own the properties, have 9 times out of 10, they not even from the ghettos that where you from. You know what I'm saying? They don't really care about your well-being. They're gonna get somebody in there regardless. So get into owning property. That's definitely a way to survive it. Uh, that's pretty much like all you can do. If these people have a plan to move you out of there and clean up the place per se, get rid of all the abandoned row houses. And I'm from Jersey, you know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of, I grew up in those row houses, and they're like wanting to get rid of them all and build new houses. And the problem is the people that's living there now can't afford to live there once the new houses come. They're taking old buildings and turning them into apartment buildings, and the residents, it looks good. Like when I go back home and I ride through the city, you know what I'm saying? I see a lot of these new places being built and it looks good. They're cleaning up the city. But what's going to happen in years and years to come? I'm not going to see none of my people there, because all my people that don't own their properties have been displaced. Now, what do you do when you get displaced? Like where I'm from up north, you can't run to the suburbs because the suburbs has the same high property value and it has the same high rent, if you even can find a place that's renting. Most suburban neighborhoods is all homeowners. Like on my street right now, I'm in North Carolina, but on my street right now, there's not a property for rent on the street. Everybody on the street is a homeowner, and that's what the world is coming to in America. It's coming to ownership. You have to own property, and that's how you obtain wealth and keep your wealth and live. And that's what it's getting to, unless you're rich. The rich can afford to rent places and live wherever they want to live. But why do people want to live in the city? Like, why do they want to all of a sudden, the wealthier people and more educated people, why all of a sudden they want to live in the city? They want a glimpse of the city life. You know what I'm saying? They want a glimpse of the culture, and they want to live in the tall apartments and stuff like that. And they'll do it at any cost. They'll do it at any cost. So since the people up north can't really go to suburbs, I recommend that you move to the south, because the south has what they call the country. You know what I'm saying? And in the country, you can find affordable housing, affordable living, and more land, and you can raise your family up and raise your kids up in a safe environment, an environment that's different from what you grew up in and better than what you grew up in, and something that you could actually afford. Yes, gentrification does exist in the South as well, you know what I'm saying? But the people who can't afford to live in these cities in the South, they just go to the country. They go to the country, get them a house, you know what I mean, have cheap rent. And so I recommend anybody up north that's experiencing gentrification and you're just not in a position where you could afford to live there, to relocate down. Yeah, man, relocate down south and give yourself a better chance at life. You know what I'm saying? And gentrification is something that we probably won't be able to fight completely. Excuse me. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? But they can't wipe you out, baby, because you're strong. And you're going to survive, and we're going to survive. And that's what I got to say about that. And if they want the ghetto so bad, then let them have the ghetto. It's a new way for you anyway. And I'm praying for everyone that's experiencing gentrification. And I hope that it stops because it's taken away our culture. You know what I mean? Everything that we built. It's your God lives. Drop it in the comments. I'll see you on the next video. Peace. I do this.